Yes, hello Jude, welcome back. So in this part, as you mentioned, we need to focus on how to use time words in a narrative. Narrative means a story, a short story, right? So let me ask you some questions before we start. Would you like to go on a safari holiday to see wild animals? Mhm. Jude, are you following?
The mic was muted.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, I say what safari holiday.
Safari like visiting forest, jungle. Okay, غابات يعني.
Okay. Um, no.
No, why?
No.
Why not? Are you
Um,
scared of wild animals?
no, not scared, but
Yeah.
actually I don't like them.
You don't like these places.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, these places. Okay. Would you like to work with wild animals like
Mm,
tigers, lions?
however, no,
No.
no, no.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they are dangerous. You mean at risk. Highly risky. Right. So read the story about Paul and answer the question. A bad day at the office. This is the title. A bad day at the office. So, what job did Paul do in Zimbabwe? Why is the story called A Bad Day at the Office? So, read the story, please, Jude. Read with your eyes. Okay, finished?
Yes.
Right. So, question one. What job did Paul do in Zimbabwe?
Um,
Mhm.
and he
Yeah.
become a river guide.
Yes, he was guide, right? And before that, he was in the army, the British Army, for 9 years, right? A river guide. So,
Yes.
why this story called A Bad Day at the Office?
Because
Mhm. Is it happen in an office?
no,
No.
no.
So why they called a bad day at the office? What do you think? Mhm. Because
Um,
his current job now, huh, his current job now, be helping them to be positive. about their
Yes.
life, talking about what happened. It describes a bad day. A bad day at the office means a bad day
Mm-hmm.
happened in the past at the office where he works now. Okay, and he talks about his
Okay.
bad experience in the office. Right. So now, Yajud, we as you see, we have. I think the story is complete, but we need more words to help us understand and make our story more exciting. So we need to use time phrases. Time phrases like what? As, after, before, eventually, later, now, one day, suddenly, then, when, finally. All these words, we call them linkers or conjunctions. Okay? Can you please, Yaju, try to use them to this story?
Okay.
Mhm. By the way, use
Um.
after 2 times. The other words only once. Use it once.
Okay.
Is probably the
Um.
luckiest man alive. After 9 years in the British Army, he gave up his job, returned to his native country, Zimbabwe, to become a river guide. He was
Um.
leading,
When he was leading,
yes, good, when he was leading a group of tourists down the Zimbabwe River,
everything
everything
seemed calm
seemed
and
calm and peaceful.
peaceful.
They traveled
Then,
slowly,
then,
slowly down the quieter river. When again?
then,
Then.
no, then,
Yes, then.
yes.
Yes, then. Okay. There was a terrifying crash. A bull hippo, one of the Africa's most dangerous animals, as you see in the picture.
Yes. Um.
Suddenly, بشكل مفاجئ.
Yes.
Suddenly, okay.
Okay. Was attacking one of the canoes.
كانوس يعني this one
Um.
كانو يعني small boat قارب صغير
Mm-hmm.
from blue.
Um.
The hippo turned
Flow.
towards Timber. It took Templar in its enormous.
Think so. It's
Mhm. Okay.
um. It's later.
What?
Later.
Later,
Yes.
uh, you can say as. You can say as the hippo turned towards Templar, it took Templar in its mouth, its enormous mouth, and it disappeared underwater. The hippo opened its mouth for a moment. Templar managed it. So you can say,
I think that it's
finally,
eventually.
yeah,
And
finally managed to escape, but he could reach the shore. The hippo attacked
read
again.
later.
Mm, no,
No.
before, before, before he could reach the shore قبل ما يوصل للشاطئ, the hippo attacked again. Accolade managed to reach Timber and pull him out of the water. You can say eventually ايه في النهاية واحد صاحبه ايه him an 8-hour road trip later, okay, after here they reached the nearest hospital in the crowd. You can say eventually. You can say eventually. Yes, eventually. I think eventually here long. يعني أخيرا. You can say this finally. Okay. You can say eventually reached the hospital, the nearest hospital in the city. Then a year.
A year later.
A year later, yes. Paul Tim returned to his job. He works with now. So he what? He now
Yes.
works with people, helping them to be positive about their lives. Okay?
Yes.
So as you see, Jude, using linkers or time words makes your story more exciting and easy for the reader to follow what happened at the beginning, what happened next, and at the end. So now let's read Paul's colleague said about the incident. Choose the right one.
Okay.
The first one said about the incident. Choose the correct one. We were on one day. Yes, في يوم من الأيام we were on the B1level with a tour group. An enormous hippo appeared suddenly. Yes, good. It attacked Paul's boat. بعدين I could shout to him.
When?
Before I could shout to him. Okay, attacked Paul's boat before I could shout to him. بعدين the hippo carried Paul underwater. There was a horrible silence.
When there was.
Yes, but no. Then the hippo carried Paul underwater. There was horrible silence. We didn't know what to do. After or before then, a few minutes. So after a few minutes, we saw Paul's head coming out of the water. He was alive. بعدين
No, not before.
We were driving too. I told Paul not to worry. So as we're driving, okay, you would be okay. But I was afraid he would die. We got to the hospital.
After? No, before.
Before, yes, before we go to the hospital. We got to the hospital about 8 hours.
Finally?
Later. Okay. After, as when we got there, he was in a really bad way. So, when we got there. Number 6, Paul's injuries were really serious, but he was healthy enough to go back to work.
But eventually.
Yes, but eventually he was healthy enough to go back to work. When I look back at that now, yes, what happened? I see that Paul was a real hero. Okay, so please, this is a good sample to you to write a narrative, Jude, using the time words as you see: one day, suddenly, before, then, now, and see. You are going to write a story about a dramatic accident or rescue. It can be true or imaginary, any story from your own. Decide a place, situation for your story, and time phrases from exercise 2. Then use these prompts to write your story. One day we were blah blah blah. Everything seemed normal when suddenly, eventually, we were able to. There was a horrible silence. Finally, we managed to, as we were going to. A few minutes later, when I look back, and so on. So please write a story of 120 words. Okay, as I told you, true story or imaginary, it's up to you. Okay, so please don't forget to use past continuous to describe your story or background. Then write the main events in the past simple and use the time phrase to make your story exciting and more interesting. Okay, Jude, and this is the end of Unit 10. Inshallah Rabbil Alameen. In our next class, we should start Unit 11. But before we meet, Bi'amrillah, please submit Test 5. Test 5 covering Units 9 and 10. Okay? Any questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you very much. Stay safe. Take care. Have a nice weekend. Family.